Hi, I'm Shayanto, one of the co-founders of NRev, and here as one of my co-hosts, I also have Nilesh. Nilesh is one of the most 0 to 1 hands-on, but most experienced, marketers I've ever come across. I think Nilesh from before the AI times also believed in small teams and doing things hands-on. But I'll let Nilesh kind of share his introduction.
Hey everyone, thanks for being there. I'm Nilesh. I head marketing at a company called Sentisum in the voice of customer space. This is, like Santo said, I love doing 0 to 1. This is my sixth 0 to 1 as a marketer. I've been the first marketer in all the 6 startups I've been a part of over the last 15 years. And a couple of standouts from that has been I was at a company called File. I led them from 0 to 8 million in about 3 years, and they got acquired last year by Sage. I've been part of large enterprise startups from the zero journey, one of them being Areca Networks, which was my first SaaS job. They went from 0 to 50 million while I was there. Today, they are a 200 million ARR company. So yeah, I love doing lean teams, 0 to 1, way before AI, as Santa said. We are hoping that, today we can keep it an engaging session, discuss how can we stand out as marketers, as demand gen folks, or even as founders, especially when almost all traditional channels are kind of, flipping itself out, be it ads, be it SEO, everything is becoming challenging. Email, the less talked about, the more better.
Anyone?
Let's,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just thinking, Nilesh, like since it's an open roundtable, if anyone else would like to kind of share 2 minutes about themselves, we'll keep a quick introduction of ourselves. That'll be handy, I think. Anyone who wants to unmute themselves, please feel free and, you know, yeah,
Yeah,
John.
my name's John. I'm VP of Sales and over partnerships at a company called Derm Pro out of Dallas, Texas. We serve the aesthetic industry market, plastic surgeons, dermatologists, and med spas with a database solution that pulls in data from across multiple platforms, helps them make sense of the data so they can run their operations more effectively and increase their lifetime value from their patients and things like that. So that's kind of our value prop in what we do in a nutshell. Been here 6 weeks, and we're just now kind of launching the sales side of some new products that we're bringing to market under that umbrella I just described. They've been in business about 13, 14 years in the e-commerce space, and they've shifted into data analytics.
So that, John, anyone else?
Hi, I'm Adriana Scalora. I'm in San Francisco, and I help CROs and BPO partners expand their partnerships and revenue through their partners, and I help them create and scale partner programs.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. Hey, I'm John Stokinger. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at a company called Acacia. We built a developer portal and GPU marketplace to help teams run AI in production cheaper, faster, and without getting locked into hyperscalers. So we know that inference is kind of like the cost, that is really hitting SaaS companies hard, and we're trying to make it affordable for everyone to go ahead and access GPUs and compute.
Awesome.
I'll jump in.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just say hi. Yeah, Nicole Burns. I'm the sales leader here at Sebel.ai. We are sales enablement and sales execution, and all about assisting sales with the latest and greatest in data and really understanding the true deal cycle and how we enable sales teams moving forward, especially CROs. So that's us. Nice to meet you all.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Nicole. Hi, everyone. So I think what we do also is that we'll try to make this as interactive as possible. Please jump in. And I think Adri did a good job in kind of dropping her email IDs. We'll all do the same so that we can connect with each other, learn from each other. And also, we'll try to keep this as interactive. So whenever you want to ask a question, feel free to just give in one line about yourself. I'll put in some. So Jared's also here, by the way, who's another co-host. And Jared, if you would want to come on and say hi.
Hey, I'm sorry for being late. I'm Jared. I'm a co-founder of RevGenius, and I just love what Shanta's building, and really excited to dive in on this roundtable discussion with some other phenomenal leaders. I caught Sybil there, Nicole. What a phenomenal company. I've been close with your founders for since the beginning, and it's wonderful watching the growth. But let's grow more, everybody.
Thanks for that, Jared. Awesome. So I'll just start with a few housekeeping notes and what the agenda is going to be like. And then we'll dive right in. Right. So just the housekeeping notes. It's about a 45-minute webinar where we keep the last 10, 15 minutes where like Nilesh and I will be on the bridge for sure to answer any questions. Jared might also be there, but I'm not very sure. But yeah, we'll be there, like kind of making it as interactive and as a session where we learn from each other, as I was mentioning. And during the session, again, like we'll just be respectful to the speaker at the moment they're talking. So please feel free to raise your hands. You're free to unmute yourself, but let's just wait for the speaker to end their thoughts, and then we can definitely have your thoughts as well and kind of make it, kind of take the conversation from there. As you notice, the webinar is about stealing deals away from your competitors, which I think is, I think should be one of the most fun things to do as a person in GTM. We'll start with, so by the way, why I love doing these webinars is because I now work with a number of companies and I also get the bird's eye view of seeing what kind of workflows, automations yield outcomes. And that's why I love sharing it with a community where we can connect, we can, again, like understand what benefits certain types of companies. Of course, there are nuances in what works in a certain company versus others. But of course, like at this time where AI is moving faster than probably the speed of light, I think we could be doing well, being aware of the capabilities that we can leverage, and then giving back to the community, of course, like share what's working for us as well. Right. So with that context, I'll quickly also bring, like Nilesh also wanted to kind of give an understanding of, over his huge career as leading marketing teams, why competitive intelligence, or even going one step further as to understanding which deals they're pursuing, etc., becomes really important in today's world. So Nilesh, handing it over to you to kind of give that brief.
Sure. I won't take much time here. I can see most people here have been there, especially like those who have been in sales. I think it's a no-brainer. You want to steal deals from your competitors, but how it's become in marketing like right now. So just two anecdotes, like from the last 2 years that I've been a market, like I'm only even talking about the last 2 years, because that's when you started seeing the whole AI wave coming in, and like LLM search, get AI automations, and people are trying to automate everything. Two things that have massively changed over the last 2-3 years. One is Google Ads, which used to be bread and butter for every marketer. Almost every marketer I have talked to in the last 6 months has seen their conversions go down or seen their cost shoot up, either of the two. And it's almost across the board. Very few companies are seeing positive conversion rates or positive CPAs from Google Ads. A lot of companies have in fact shifted their budgets to Meta ads, LinkedIn ads, and LinkedIn ads are very expensive and they're getting more expensive by the day. So in fact, I was just reading a post by I would say one of the best marketers in the country right now, at least in India, Madhav from Storylane. And they have a $3.3 million marketing budget this year. And they have allocated almost 10% of that to, I think, Meta ads. So even they are not trying to, ace Google ads when they can easily do. They are a PLG model. They can easily get conversions. But even for them, Google ads is not being a great channel. Most of the ad budget is LinkedIn and Meta. That's one. Second is, we used to keep hearing every 3 years that cold email is dead. But I feel like we'll probably live to see the actual thing happen. Cold email goes dead. A quick raise of hands or, a reaction, like how many of you have seen either delivery rates go down, open rates go down, or both, and like a bunch of response rates going down, and you're probably not even getting delivered because people are using Mixmax. Yep. So, which is why, when I started rethinking, when I joined Centis, I'm like, okay, what can we do different? Because AI SEO, yes, I'll crack it. I'll figure out how to get GPT searches and everything. But then if cold email does not work, ads does not work, outbound is not easy to crack, especially when you are not based in a particular country and are trying to crack that market, especially for a person like me, who's trying to crack the US market. The easiest way I thought was, what if I could just look at my competitors and the type of logos they are closing? Because that tells you which type of companies you want to go after in that particular market. And that became like a no-brainer for us. We are like, okay, fine. That is one. And second is like, look at all the people, online who are engaging with these companies. And if from that, which are those people who actually belong to your competitor's sales team or SDR team? If they are engaging with a particular account, you know that that's the right type of company to go after. And to be very honest, like a year back, we were doing this all like, by looking at LinkedIn and trying to figure out what to do, how to do it. But now that, we have tools like NRev and we have tools like other tools coming in who are trying to automate this whole process, it's only making my life simpler. So when people, like a lot of people have in fact asked me in the last couple of months, especially with this whole agentic AI coming in and, people using Claude Code, Claude Cowork to automate everything. And they have been like, do you think your job is at risk? Like, will people need a demand gen marketer? And I was like, my job is actually not at risk. I think that I can do my job like 10 times better now because I have just so much more time to actually think about things. Earlier, it was like, oh, I have to optimize ads, I have to optimize landing pages, I have to optimize this, that. Now it's like whatever I want to optimize, I can practically automate half of it or more than half of it. And I get actual time to think about these very, very short but like crucial experiments that you could run, especially if you are a single marketer or you're running a small team, which was very difficult earlier. Earlier, we used to struggle to do more than a channel at a time. Jared saying, good luck to see you building out DG in Cloud Code. Yeah, I know. Someone messaged me an hour back that we vibe coded a CRM. I'm like, congratulations, but who's going to manage it for you?
It makes a great LinkedIn post.
But if someone hacks your CRM, I mean, who's the developer actually managing that? I mean, good, you're a marketer, you vibe coded a CRM because you don't like HubSpot, but someone still has to manage the data.
I remember like there was a post that went viral where Anthropic was hiring for a Salesforce admin, and LinkedIn continuously talking about how people are vibe coding CRMs. So yeah.
Yeah, I know people are trying to vibe code everything. Someone WhatsApp me today that, do you think we can vibe code an email tool which will send 50,000 personalized emails a month? And I'm like, you could probably, but the amount of effort and like the amount of dev you will need for it, you can buy a tool. So yeah, I mean, people can vibe code probably everything eventually. But I feel like at the end of the day, as marketers and sales guys, we have to just ask our prospects just one thing. And it could be a very simple question. I mean, any company, the largest of companies, don't spend more than 15, 20% of the budget on SaaS. That's the budget, 15% standard. Is it worth vibe coding that 15%? Or actually taking a good SaaS tool and spending your energy on vibe coding manual stuff that you're doing right now in the other 85%? So if any of your prospects come back to you and say like, AI is going to do this, it's a very simple thing to ask. Is it really worth the effort and the money? Because it still costs money, vibe coding. They don't realize that. To manage that scale, you will still end up managing all those tokens and the money required to run those tools. So, which is why like competitive intelligence right now is going to be the game changer, I feel like, over the next at least 1 year, where you can figure out, okay, which deals to go out right now, go out after right now, especially if you're doing a 1 to 10 right now or a 0 to 1 right now. You have to be prepared for the next 3 quarters, not just the next quarter. Because your targets are only going to increase. I always tell my teams that, hey, your target is probably 100K this quarter, but the sales team will have will want $1 million target at some point. We need to be prepared for that, which means that we need to know which deals to go after when the going is really slow. When quarter 4, you are getting really less leads. This is what will build you with pipeline for that, because you will start nurturing these deals right now. So yeah, won't take any further. Sayanta, why don't we jump into, talking about these workflows?
Absolutely. And I love the comment section right now. People are getting hilarious there. So all right. So I'll just give a brief idea about what this is, and I think Nilesh kind of spoke about what the idea is. And just before that, so we're going to be building certain workflows in this like webinar, which gets us hands-on and kind of gets us a little, gets our hands dirty in terms of understanding the power of workflows, because one, if you're using agents, as Nilesh mentioned, you're going to be burning a lot of money because it's basically LLMs taking decisions at every time, and it's non-deterministic. That means it can make a mistake in every step, especially when you have large steps. So with that context, I'll get into showing you how simple things have been in terms of what we've already discovered as workflows or automations giving value to people. Right. So this one's typically where we are tracking, we're first finding out all our competitors' sales reps, and then we are tracking every bit of activity that they are doing on LinkedIn. Especially if our channel of sales or our competitors' channels of sales, and I'm guessing that'll be kind of the same, is LinkedIn. This works wonders. And of course, like all of us are in a red ocean today. So I'm guessing like there's a lot of competitive activity all around us. And while we say competitors, we also have to make sure that we are kind of understanding that we're not just tracking head-on competition, but we're tracking anyone who solves a similar use case as our offering, right? So we're kind of looking at probably like 100 or in some cases thousands of sales reps, and we are gathering all their activities on LinkedIn and then trying to figure out a heat map, right? And here again, the advantage comes in doubling down on the duration on which you're running this. So if you're running this over 2 months, you will start noticing that there are certain accounts on which there are like a spike of activities. These are like you're only capturing activities to the target persona. So let's say I'll show you a demo of Yellow.ai that I was running very recently. They are chatbot automation software, especially for the customer facing teams, especially towards customer success. So when we're looking at customer experience or customer success people being engaged by sales reps of a certain company selling to those personas, it's almost obvious that they're kind of engaging for the purpose of evangelizing, right? So that being said, let's kind of get into this. And while I'm at it, let me also share the link because all of y'all can go in and try this out. So here's the link to, and what we call these plays. And if you go into the play marketplace, you will see all these plays that have not come from us, but from all our customers who have built out their own automations. And then we also judge, what is working, what is common, and then try to give an experience where you can try this out. And let me actually shrink my, if you just click on use play, you won't be taken to any workflow of sorts because this is a built out play. You will be taken to a chat interface and there'll be certain important questions asked here. So the personas that are relevant to you, as I was mentioning, this is for Yellow. So head of digital customer experience, et cetera, is what they've kind of filled out. And then there is like a company ICP that has been put in. This has been run a few things some time back, so I'm not showing you exact results in case there are any competitors here today. But yeah, when we get into the detailed results, or feel free to chat with that AI as well as it builds it, you will start noticing these lead emails, and the companies that are occurring more and more. So NICE, for example, is occurring more and more. Here, Medallia came up a number of times. So these, when collected over a few weeks, start showing those signals. So I'll just pause for a little bit to catch on any questions, any thoughts on this. Anyone wants to share any anecdotes of them trying this at scale or on a personal level?
I asked a question in the chat if you don't mind answering.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Is this free? Yeah, I mean, there are some, so you can test it out for free, of course. You can come in, you can put in your details regarding the preferences that are asked. This will run in the free credits that are given. But once you exhaust that, then you kind of have to start, paying for the credits. But this is completely usage based. So you kind of typically run this once in a week. And based on the results, as you keep gathering, you choose to experiment with your BDR teams. Typically, what we see is marketing leaders throw these as breadcrumbs to their A's and BDRs and try to notice if they're running with that signal or not. But till the time that you're seeing that signal of whether they're running with those pieces of information or not, it's going to be free. Let me tell you that. Awesome. So there's nobody else who wants to jump in. Let me move on to a little more, workflows. This, when we go.
Sayanta, I think Matthew says we are running similar campaigns through Sales Navigator and ICP. Okay.
Got it. Understood. Are you capturing the activities of your sales reps or the competitors' sales reps? I mean, I'm sure you probably can, but you'll have to gather them manually. But yeah, would love to hear, Matthew, if you want to kind of step in and mention.
Hi, this is Matthew.
Hey, Matthew.
Yeah, so we are running an automation where we run similar ICP campaigns against target companies that we want to go after, and we use the activity that the ICP profile of that target client or prospect, the activity that they are running through on LinkedIn. So if they're attending webinars, if they're attending other sorts of events, or at least following them, we'll grab them, track them, and market to them directly, and everybody else that may have attended that same webinar, right? Because that's obviously showing pretty good intent of what people are wanting to learn about. So it's similar to what you're doing, but the example that you shared, I think, is great because the automation is a little bit more robust in what it's able to continuously track instead of running campaign one at a time. It looks like this can be running consistently as their activity.
Matthew, are you automating that, or are you just like manually having folks look at that?
We manually set it up, and then it goes and operates on its own in the background until we finally get those people captured and connect with them.
But just to to be sure, you are talking about your ICP accounts here, right?
Yes, just like you have on the far left under preferences. Is that
so? Got it. There's just one key difference here. This ICP that we are defining here is not just to go after ICP accounts, but these are ICP accounts that the sales reps of your competitors are tracking. So let's say you are at sellbigger.ai, and let's say you have a competitor who's also targeting the same company.
Yeah, I understood that. That's why I really liked this example and this tool.
Yeah,
because it is more robust. It basically augments your traditional ICP campaign.
Yep. So you can actually track like any company that you want to track. I mean, any company that your competition is going after. And you could even then, you could actually add on, like I've added onto this workflow in a way that, so yes, I want to track the companies my competition is tracking, but then I also want to create lookalikes of those companies. So I've added a module where I get lookalikes of any account that I want to target. So for example, if I want to target a food delivery app, there's a food delivery app company I'm targeting, I'll get the lookalikes of that company in the same revenue range and in the same employee size range in a particular country or in a particular continent. And I would basically keep adding to my ICP list based on that, because I mean, you can't just go after one account that your ICP is going after. You also want all the lookalikes to go after. So you could actually there are modules you could add on top of this and make it like even a more advanced workflow.
And I was going to say, to be clear, you could bring in whatever alpha you have too. So if you have, I don't know, Sybil core recordings, which are dope and some granularity there, and you want to pull people mentioned and have that go against there, you can. This is just a simple use case.
Can I ask a question about how this might apply? So my name's Liv. My company, the company I'm at, is mostly subscriptions. Many of the folks we target are independent contractors. So it's a tough audience to find. I am super interested. Would this work for targeting individuals? Because we're slowly moving to finding them at the company level, but that's going to take a few months to create that motion. As I'm looking at this, I think this would also work for finding individuals that meet our personas.
It is actually. So, Liv, there's this company called Price Labs, which is dynamic pricing for any person who hosts Airbnbs, who use it extensively to find such people who might not be on a LinkedIn or like a social media or like a list provider kind of a solution, right? So happy to chat on this, Liv, and talk to you more about on this in detail. There are wonderful ways you can find such people who fall within your ICP but might not be on something like an Apollo or a Rocket Reach.
Awesome. I'd love to. Yeah, please reach out. I have to go to my daily scrum, but this was, I wanted to make time for this. And now that I've seen it, I'm even more interested. Thank you so much.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you do anything with intent data? I'm currently playing around with a free trial with a product. And it says like so-and-so just engaged with a competitor, and it tells me which competitor it is. Does it do that? So, because that I'm really enjoying that.
It was just
I've only been playing with this technology 3 days, and I'm like blown away that
I can jump in, personally set it up so that like anytime like different triggers happen, I get like Slack notifications, like even posts to comment on. So you could do like a variety of things. Like if ICP makes a post and the post has over or under certain engagements, like whatever your mind can think of, really.
Okay, so if I want to see every time somebody followed this company on LinkedIn or engaged with one of their posts or maybe
Yeah.
connected with a salesperson at their company,
So you
I can follow.
could do that, and you could layer in ICP persona directly the person. Like I only sell to VPs of marketing, and I have all of their names. So like when one of these names comments anywhere on LinkedIn, you could do the reverse, right? Like anytime they comment anywhere using this keyword, if they're talking about sales
Yeah.
tech and they use sales tech and they comment anywhere on LinkedIn, I want to come in and be on them like white on rice. You could do that.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a complete, think of it like a Lego piece that stitches itself based on your requirements. So, for example, I was actually going to show you this interesting bit where, for example, you want to track wherever your company is being mentioned or wherever your competitors are being mentioned, right? That just starts from, so for example, I've just put in two competitor names, HeyReach and Lemlist. I mean, these are not direct competitors, but we definitely automate things on LinkedIn. So, I mean, these are covering use cases that compete with us. So let's say HeyReach and Limlist, and yeah, I just get their company profile, which then just plugs into a single node that just says search LinkedIn posts, which tag any of these, right? So at this step, what I'm doing is I'm finding over the last day, what are all the posts that have tagged HeyReach and Lemlist. Sorry. So hi everyone, I'm looking at recommendations of LinkedIn outreach. There are tools like HeyReach, this, right? And this is, you can configure it to be giving you results in the last 24 hours, 1 week, or whatever the frequency you want to keep for yourself. And then what we can do, this is just finding it difficult with the Zoom thing here. You can directly plug it into a Google Sheet and keep it stored and take some action there on. But you can also get the comments on that post and then have the ICP qualification on top of that, right? So I just need to kind of put in the URN of the post, which is right here, and that's it. I run this, I get all the comments on each of the posts. So there were 100 posts coming in. I will now load my data set up, but I have all the comments and then I can go through their headlines and see if they fall within my ICP or not. Similarly, in the case of reactors. And as Jared mentioned, this can be taken the other way around as well. You could be tracking on a person level, like you could have like a set of people you want to track continuously and see who's interacting with their posts, right? So that's as simple as, let me just show you that node. I could just add it here by saying, sorry, this is LinkedIn scraping, and I get comments by a person or posts by a post by a company, post by a person, by yeah, get post by a person. So all of these can be completely plugged in, and this is all sourced from, let's say, maybe a Google Sheet or a database you have anywhere, right? Yeah, but this is not restricted to LinkedIn. I just wanted to show you a quick way of tracking conversations about your competitors, let's say on Reddit, Twitter, Product Hunt, wherever you can think of an open community, right? So I just wanted to touch upon Reddit. And this is a beautiful thing that Google allows you to do. So let me just show you, right? So for example, if you just put in and say that site reddit.com, and then you put in like your competitor name, let's say, and you just put in a date after which you want to search these posts, because you would want to do this programmatically on a daily basis. So you would want to change this date every time. And if you just search for it, you get every single Reddit conversation that has happened during this time, and that highlights age, right? So you can choose to kind of even attach an AI after this step to kind of figure out what kind of comment you want to do as whatever context you want to give to it, and then just have a person come in. I mean, I've seen there's this company who uses all these tracking mechanisms across different platforms. They use one intern, and for LinkedIn, of course, they have their founder kind of dedicating time to kind of go in and comment. But other than that, they just have one intern to set up this entire thing and manage all the activities done in these platforms, right? So that's as cool. This is actually, I wanted to actually also touch upon one of their, I mean, I just replicated their dashboard. They created a vibe coding dashboard on top of it so that it's, I mean, this intern just wanted to impress the CEO there, and they wanted to kind of create something that's not just a Google Sheet on which they comment. So this is Reddit on top of that, and you can select the competitor. These are my competitors, but yeah, I can select any competitor and just start seeing posts from them. She also goes in and suggests a reply for the CEO to save time on it. But yeah, that's how they do it. And then when Emacs has commented, it automatically goes and comments on behalf of him. It's those are certain workflows I wanted to show. But if there's anything that's coming to your mind when you're kind of looking at these workflows, happy to kind of discuss those and kind of show you more possibilities if that's the case.
You mentioned, tracking when competitors' reps are engaging. At that time, sometimes it's too late, right? Yeah, that's an obvious signal, and if you're not there before them, that might be a problem. What can you do that's even more proactive than that?
I think
Because everyone's talking about signals. Everyone's using the same signals, like you just stock, or like is there a way that you could add like your alpha in, like if you're throwing your call notes in to Claude and or something, and understanding like the problems people have, and what's like a flow to get some alpha here. That's
absolutely.
probably like the $1 million question, right?
Yeah. Matthew, I'll just come back just after quickly answering this. This is a very important thing, Jared, that you mentioned. Getting ahead of before it's too late, basically, before your competitors have gotten in. I have still seen that people have been able to get some very short cycle deals when they're coming and playing the right battle card and getting in when their competitors already in. But let's look at the journey before that. And I kind of seen certain customers of ours that kind of put it this way, that there's this situation stage, there's the awareness stage, and then there is the negotiation or evaluation stage. You want to get signals in all these three stages. And this is just high level touching upon things, but you want to be very specific about those signals. When you're looking at, like, let's say the situation stage, you're looking at events they're marketing. I think Matthew touched upon this. You want to look at the kind of people they're interacting with. You want to look at how their teams are evolving. You want to look at multiple things for cybersecurity. Maybe what are the issues that they're facing. There is OSHA as a website which is brilliant at giving any kind of cyber breaches, etc. So we've seen very specific signals come in and become very important. That situation stage signals. But then again, it's not one signal that you act upon, right? It's when you see like multiple things adding up in a company that you typically want to act upon it. Because otherwise you're spreading yourself too thin. And then the second is the awareness stage. That's when they're visiting your website or interacting with multiple types of collaterals. That's where certain types of intent data like Bombora, etc. also comes upon. But I'll leave that because that's a very vague side of things. But yeah, you want to capture all that journey and then add up to kind of build that context for your customer or the target prospect.
We had mentioned earlier about stealing deals. So one is identifying who your competitors are, who your competitive sales reps are, so we can start tracking that type of activity and signals. How are you finding who those competitive sales individuals are? One. And then two, can you actually capture and track that individual without actually connecting on LinkedIn?
Oh, absolutely. So this system has about like 70 or different types of data, like Apollo, Rocket Reach, to your phone numbers, email enrichments, waterfall, all kinds of things, all embedded. So I actually didn't want to get into the editor because it'll look a little complex, but it's all built out for you to kind of go in and test. So here, for example, once you've fetched your competitors, what's happening here is you find the competitors' sales reps via Apollo or Rocket Reach. And then you kind of classify their personas, filter them based on the personas that you have. And then you kind of go in and get their comments, their replies, their likes, reactions, everything. But one interesting thing, by the way, I would just say that whenever you're building anything, there's always an AI builder. If you are something that has been built out by anyone else, for example, I love Jared how he shares certain workflows. But if, for example, if you've received a workflow and you don't know what to do with it, the best thing is just come in here and ask it, what's happening here.
Can you start like this? Like, can you say like, this is what I want to do, and will it create it for you and show you what might break so that you could just talk with it?
Yeah. I mean, today we are at a stage, Jared, where there There may be a few iterations that you might need to build this out, but the simpler to medium simple workflows can definitely be built out. And then you have to kind of go in and fill your information in. And most of that information is also guided through, because once you get into any of these nodes, for example, you can just say configure via AI. So it's just another step, but it's all AI doing stuff. It is going to build out those nodes, and then within each node, you just have to go in and ask AI to configure that node for you. So yeah, that kind of takes care of most of your building efforts. Yeah, and to your point, by the way, Matthew, so like I was showing you, so these are all embedded here in the same place, so you don't have to consider, like, let's say an Apollo, buying an Apollo for any kind of purpose, because Apollo is already embedded. We are official partners, and same for Rocket Reach and 70 other types of data providers.
API for those that live on APIs as well.
Absolutely. So there's a ton of API and yeah.
So you can stealth track these competitive account executives across LinkedIn, even without being physically connected or following them.
Absolutely. We are tracking all the activities of anyone who's there on LinkedIn. And where you need yourself to be plugged in is when you want to automate an action on behalf of you. So let's say if you want to say hi to someone in a DM, or if you want to comment on someone's post, and you want the AI to do it, you just need to connect your account, and you can do that automatically as well. Yep. Last bit I wanted to touch upon before people lose interest and drop off is that although it's
I love how this went from like competitor reps tracking to what else I could build. This is funny.
Yeah, I love that as well. Typically, we start off with a theme, but kind of evolve into the possibilities, because AI gives us that scope, right? To kind of look at all kinds of data and then kind of making meaningful evaluations and actions out of it. One quick thing, in a lot of cases in our previous webinars as well, I've realized that I am not able to deliver the workflows after it for anyone who asks or share it on an email, because emails kind of tend to have a very low deliverability rate. So I'll quickly ask Jay if you could share. So there are two ways. You could just connect with me, or just ask me for these workflows. I'll share it over. As I mentioned to, I think, Andrew, that it'll be like there enough free credits for you to use, try it out, and see if some of them work before you have to pay anything. So you can definitely try it out. And but yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, or there is this quick link that we have to join a Slack community. We all, like Jared, Nilesh, and I, all of us are active there, constantly talking about what are the workflows that we're seeing yielding value to people. And it's a nascent group, but we talk a lot about what's working for people and what's not, and share learnings.
We're trying to build stuff, and when we come up with bumps in the road, we ask questions and have Shanto help us fix them. This is the short of it, so that they could actually come out.
Yeah, I think I ping Sayanta or Aradhya like at least once a day, saying that I want to build this on, like, is it a possibility? And like 9 times out of 10 it is.
Yep.
So yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, feel free to join Slack, or like ping us if you're struggling with any kind of workflows. If you're thinking about a workflow, like maybe it's something we have overlooked and we want to build that then.
Yeah. And the best part is, as we kind of rake our brains, we get to learn so many new ways in which people are doing it. For example, Nilesh just started not just tracking his competitors' customers, but also looking at their lookalikes, as he was saying, right? And then kind of capturing more and more signals about their lookalikes, and then understanding how you can personalize a reach out. I mean, this happens at a very, very personal level when you kind of reach out with so much information at place. Those things definitely kind of start opening up in our minds as we kind of go about it. But yeah, I mean, officially we have the webinar coming to an end, but we're here to kind of discuss anything that you have in your mind, any questions, anything of that sort. Thanks, John, for joining. Thanks, everyone, for joining, for that matter. And I love the fact that there were so many questions.
Pratik has a question, I think.
Hey, just a quick question, because one of the things that I see as a sales guy is a lot of times we have battle cards and say a history of a town, but generally that's not updated on a daily basis. And as a sales rep, you have to kind of constantly go and look at funding data. You have to go and look at new product launches. Is there a way where we can auto kind of update the battle cards and give the insights to sales reps or the marketing folks, so that they can maybe choose the named accounts as they go forward with every quarter?
Absolutely. And I'm glad Nicole's also here who spoke about sales enablement. And in the sales enablement space, I'm sure she can also add a few things. But yes, this is something that is very commonly used by PMM teams. They not just collect all these, the funding news or who's joining, who's leaving kind of data, but also what people are talking about on public channels about these competitors, right? That's where those Reddit threads or those Twitter threads come in. And finally, I've seen setups like a Slack interactive bot where you can go and ask, sales reps can directly go and ask, what is happening in the last week with these competitors, or what are their customers talking about this tool, what in general are their announcements or anything of that sort are like, and you get like a precise answer based on exactly what you asked. Happy to show that to you, Karthik, sometime off the bridge and how that can be done.
Thanks.
Shanta, quick question. Are you seeing one of the biggest problems that companies that I've talked to have is they have 28,000 prospective people to reach out to. They have a dozen reps doing it. From prioritizing those accounts based on signals, like forget even just like mass doing it. Like, have you seen cutting those 28,000 down to 2,800 that for this month or this quarter are more likely to buy, and then roping that back into the CRM for all sorts of prioritization?
Yep, absolutely right. I think companies have done this even before, like in terms of having these named accounts and then kind of chasing them every quarter based on certain signals. And then they have like something like a target group of accounts or target industry of accounts, but maybe not that much in terms of a very like a microscope on top of each account in an account-based marketing manner. But in both cases, what happens with AI is that you're able to prioritize much better because of like the droplets of data or the minuscules of data you can collect all over the web about them and on a dynamic day-to-day basis and then kind of prioritize them, right? So for example, most of these small workflows act as signals, right? Even if they're like engaging with an event or engaging with your competitors founders or their sales reps engage or whatever that is, right? There's so many things that we can think of kind of add up to what mean, we've seen, like, for example, there's this company who has this proper scoring mechanism. And whenever it goes beyond a certain threshold, and they have huge sales cycles, so that it then gets prioritized for their next to next quarter, right? So you're building, pipeline ahead in terms for your salespeople, and you have all that context in place. So yeah, absolutely. We've seen so many different types of implementations around this and ways of acting for the sales teams.
Matthew?
Yeah, that triggered another question. Your question, Jared. And then, so if you're a sales manager, right? You've got a team of people that you want to create this platform to, right? To go out and start identifying, finding, and collecting all these different signals. Are these signals coming back into a singular dashboard, or are they going back to an individual that's running, let's say, a single campaign? Like, can this be aggregated into, let's say you build a Salesforce campaign. Can we aggregate all these signals back to an individual contact? Because we already identified them, right? Who that contact might be and their role in LinkedIn and everything else. We can collect, scrape it, pull it back in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think of workflows as like a middleware. It always plugs into some system of record or some system of, I mean, it can become a system of action, but you often want a human in the loop for it. So it absolutely plugs into HubSpot, your Salesforce, and then, for example, this customer I was talking about, which does this prioritization, they always have that the updated score and why that score is updating to a certain level automatically plugged into their Salesforce. So it makes Salesforce a lot more dynamic, a lot smarter, and it also becomes like that central point of activity for your reps to kind of pick it up from. But I mean, another nudge that they also do is typically they send a draft email within the inbox or their outbox of their salespeople as well. You can do that because then it's like a human in the loop action where you're not sending on behalf of them, but you're kind of nudging them to look at what the signals are like, customize the email that they're looking to send out, and everything else is kind of figured. You can press the send and it goes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about, building an agent internally to do that. It's almost like the coach, right?
Exactly.
It's almost like a human SDR manager that is doing all this analysis, and it's basically quarterbacking and handing this information off to the right person if it needs manual intervention.
Check this out. I'm curious, Shanto. I just interviewed an awesome marketing leader who shared this play that was like an aha unlock. He literally chat GPT analyzed his website for the types of qualifications, keywords, like the top three keywords, somebody was that would be in a job description in particular that would relate directly to somebody whose first priorities or early priorities were for this like cold call software, right? So it came up with like cold calling outbound, and then he expounded on that to like come up with phrases that could be synonymous and stuff. Then buckled it down, like talking to people on the team, like doing a sanity check, and came up with the top three. Matthew, this could be interesting for you. Like he ended up using another platform for this, but frankly, it might have even been easier in an NRev. Are you able to scrape past jobs as well as current opening? And the reason why I ask is, let's say, let's use sell bigger. Matthew, what do you guys do?
We actually have an agentic conversational AI SDR that does outbound calling and meeting appointment setting.
Okay, so let's say like for you, outbound, this and the next thing. So like look through the past, saying like what CROs or VPs of sales in the job description, like outbound is like something we need you to set up, right? And so they came up with these three keywords. And the interesting thing is, he found when a CRO, and so he had 28,000 accounts, he brought it down to just those, right? We're not even talking active signals. He's just talking about ICP right sizing. When his team reached out to a CRO that had all three of those signals in the job description, even if they've been enrolled for 9 months, 42% booking rate.
Wow.
That's insane, guys. CRO, 42% booking rate. He looked at against his own pipeline, right? So he realized when they met all three, they were 15 times more likely to buy. And he looked at his pipeline and he said, okay, cool. Do we have these accounts already in our pipeline? His pipeline was 6.5x. So they were doing like the difficult way. They were getting the right people in. There was a 9x delta, 9 times, not 9% delta there. That was the first thing they rolled out. So anybody like, I hate to veer the conversation, but like that feels like a first thing to do, and then layer this under it, and that's pretty interesting. And it's a job history, right? So like if they're hired a quarter ago.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that there's that first step. And then what we've talked about today is, is the peanut butter and jelly in between, you're right, or the grout in between the tiles where you're finding people that you didn't have identified, and now you're aggregating them, and now you're basically tracking them, keeping them warm, and keeping them ripe and ready for that contact. And because once you do decide to make that contact, you have all the peanut butter jelly context you need to have a very kind of resounding first call.
Totally. Yeah. And that's the alpha, right? So like let's say in the 28,000, you're now down to 500, and then you're layering these, that's enough to be there, but then you're laying these signals under. You're getting to people really fast, and not just at a point when everyone's reaching out to them.
And just to add, like since we did this for ourselves, and everyone who's here, like one very interesting thing was, so we were talking about the signal-based play, right? So we actually went after people who had mentioned using Clay for signal-based for collecting signals within the job descriptions, and this is in the past as well. Right. And even we had like a very high reply rate. We had about like 3.5%, I think, reply rate as compared to a general 1% that people are happy with. And this is where you get exactly which tools they're using. What is the outcome that that company is looking to achieve out of hiring this person, as well as like the frameworks or like the kind of sales methodology that they typically have. You get so much information out of job openings. And when you get multiple of them for the same company regarding that same thing, it becomes like a gold mine of information.
Yeah, I know of and Matthew, Jack, everyone here, like job openings are also a secret spot to find technographics, because they say must be good at HubSpot, must be good at integrating Sybil, must be good at this and this. Great. That's their whole tech stack there.
Awesome.
But
This was
looking at
really
job history too, not just openings, is key because you're 99% of the people you're reaching out to didn't just get hired by them, right?
yes, absolutely. Which is why I shared my screen, Jared, to show that you can track up to I think 2 years of history, historical jobs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Nobody stays there longer than that.
yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you guys. Sorry for taking
Thank you.
over. This was
Oh,
exciting.
no, thank you, Jared. That made the conversation so much more live. Thank you, Nilesh, for adding the bits of things that we've learned over time. Uh, and thank you, everyone, for coming in and joining. This was a great, interactive one that we've had till now.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Anto.
Thank you guys.